I don't know about you, but for me it's already fall and almost the season of the witch. Moin moin, dear people, old, new, my friends, the friends of my friends, my relatives, and anyone in the world who found this channel and who thought that the topics I'm talking about might be interesting for them. My name is Anna of Northern Germany, a survivor, a fighter, a writer, and on this channel I tend to talk about a bunch of stuff, but the things that interest me the most are writing, books, also mental health awareness, and sometimes politics, because I am a political activist. I believe so. Sometimes it's hard to say I'm a political activist. Doesn't matter. And I was born in Russia 3 years. I am in Germany for 3 years, and I'm 1 year into being a refugee in Germany. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's not easy. I really love Germany, especially Northern Germany. And my journey of settling down in this country you can also watch on my channel sometimes. And I was lucky to find a flat. It's not easy in Germany. And also, seemingly, I was lucky to find a secure job, job where you're respected, where you're listened to, and where you feel useful, and also doing which job you're paid fairly. Seemingly, I don't know. I have already made a video about that, and that was the video about me doing a holiday job in the school for kids with special needs. And if you are interested in this topic and in my experience, I suggest first watching the first video, because probably it will be easier to understand what I mean and what I'm referring to. But I will try to make this video clear, even if you don't want to go back to that video. And you can see that the name of the video is a bit strange, and for you there will be a question. I will describe the situation at my work, and in the end you will be able to say either that was my fault and the fault of my background, or was it just something that happens at work sometimes. Because I will be talking about, and I think this video is mostly dedicated to Russians and to other post-Soviet citizens who inherited certain patterns, certain toxic patterns that now interfere with our lives, our work lives, our lives. Let's pass over to our video. Enjoy and have fun, hopefully. The brief description who I am and about my job. And originally, when I lived in Russia, I graduated from university and I have a diploma in linguistics, and I taught English online for 5 years or so. So I have some experience in teaching, but it's never enough to have experience in teaching. Also, in Germany, and before Germany, I had done volunteering. I also was a camp leader, and I also shared my volunteering home with teenagers who had some difficulties on their life paths, maybe because of their parents, of their addictions or whatever, or maybe they didn't have parents at all. So I have some kind of experience in Germany. I did a kitchen job recently. I was a bit unhappy about my kitchen job because I felt like out of place there, and also it wasn't exactly what I had expected, and at some point there was no work for me to do, and I, as a person who gets some help from the job center thought that I plus or minus sustain myself, and I hoped for that too when I picked that job up, but I had no work to do, and when I got work I was supposed to go somewhere far, far away from my home, and that was not something that we had discussed. And originally, I thought that I would be helping at exhibitions or at various events, because when they write this advertisement to attract you to do a job, they say that you are going to be at the best events of Hamburg, and it didn't happen. Okay, you can judge me. And that very moment when I already started questioning my actions and my work, and I didn't get money anyway because I didn't have work to do. At that very moment, my friends, my old school friends, found a job for me in the newspaper, holiday job for the holiday care at the school for kids with special needs. And my friends, they told me this is something for you to do. And I found the school, and eventually we looked at each other with the headmistress or with the person who organized all that, and we concluded that probably we would be able to work together happily and respectfully. What are you to do in this job? Teachers and other carers, normally they go on the vacation, but on the vacation, parents of kids with special needs still need assistance. They need to have some time to themselves for work or to have some free time, it doesn't matter. And for that, they employ people from this organization, they employ extra cares for the vacation. It's not necessarily a teacher who is needed there. Of course, there are people who are experienced at working with kids, at interacting with kids, especially with kids with special needs, but also just to assist, to help around, anyone can do. That's why I was there. Also, people who were also retired and they needed to get up in the morning and to see people and to feel helpful and to feel useful and to earn some money on the side. Also, there were people, or kids, not kids, I don't know if I should call them kids, people, students, school students, people who either have just finished school or were still in the school, and this is a summer job for them to earn money for traveling or for concerts or for whatever they want to, or to do driving license. It's freaking expensive in Germany to do your driving license. It varies who is employed. And these organizations, they are constantly searching for people because, of course, maybe it's much better when an experienced person is employed there, but they are simply not enough. This is something that what we must understand. The job basics are what to say to keep the kids alive. It sounds stupid, yes, but this is the main thing. Of course, it's nice to entertain children. It's nice to look after them, to notice what interests them, to engage into activities with them. But mainly, the main idea that the kids, they are looked after, they spend some time playing, interacting with each other, learning something great, or not learning something, just having fun, it's also fine. And in the end, all these children, they must go home whole, satisfied, and healthy and well. So this is it. The kids must be clean because not all of them can assist themselves, fed at the right time, walked, entertained, that's it. And it's a hard job. You must understand that the work at the school is a teamwork. It's the group work. We are divided into groups. We are divided into groups of carers, professionals, or like adults, whatever you call us, and children. And children might be divided according to their age, but also sometimes a child might be 18 and still the level of understanding, the level of development of this child can be close to younger children, then they are mixed. And generally in this school you can watch how children of different ages help each other, push the wheelchair, etc., etc. And this is very sweet. This is something that you might not see in a school for usual kids, and kids are quite cruel sometimes. But in this school, fortunately, kids are not that cruel to each other, and this is a big advantage. Who is in your team plays a significant role in your working environment. It's something obvious, okay? I don't have to specify that, but especially in this school, because the idea of the school is that we're all equal. There is no straightforward hierarchy, and there is no headmaster who had learned his ways long ago, and now this headmaster doesn't want to change anything, and you're supposed to follow the rules, which are silly or even crazy. This doesn't happen at work in our school. That means we are paid plus or minus equally. We are respected, we respect each other, we help each other, and it shouldn't happen that one person cares for all the kids all together and some other workers are somewhere else smoking, for example. It's just an example for you to understand. And this is a very supportive environment, but there were certain issues that I am going to talk about, and it has nothing to do with the main staff of the school, has nothing to do with the school. It has something to do with me being unlucky this time. A bit. If you watch my previous video, you will understand that previously I was very naive and I looked at everything through this perspective, through this pink filtered glasses. And it's not necessarily bad, but I encourage you not to put anyone or anything on pedestal. Analyze everything, weigh pros and cons of every work, of every situation. And that time I was lucky. This time I was unlucky. I cannot say that I was unlucky about kids, because kids are kids. And of course my group this time was much more difficult. My kids from the previous time, they were very independent. They didn't have any serious behavioral or health issues. And this time my kids were little, and they had complex characters and certain behavioral issues. And I had 6 kids, I would say. And of course, you need a very strong team if you have a difficult group. And from time to time, I had a very strong team. Our team consisted of the team leader, the proper person who is experienced at working either in this school or with little children. And when the person has experience of working at this school, it's even better, because this person, whatever, if it is a carer or a teacher, they know the children, they know their little peculiarities, and children see the authority in them because they already know them. Or at least a person who has some kind of education. And 3 days per week during the 2 weeks, I worked 3 weeks this time. Last time I worked for 1 week. We had a lady who was a retired kindergarten worker. She had been working for kindergarten for a long time, and she knew her ways, and she was very pleasant. And I think together with her, we were a good tandem, but we were not supposed to be a tandem. That's the thing. And on the 4th and the 5th day of the first week, we had a lady who replaced my retired colleague, because my retired colleague unfortunately had an ill husband, and another person, a woman who had been working in the school for 6 years, replaced her. So we still had a leader. On the second week, suddenly I became the group leader on the 4th and the 5th day of my work. Those were a journey, those 2 days. And I must say that I became the leader of the group not because I am amazing. I, of course, have certain experience. But I think to have experience at teaching kids online, teaching English, and working at the school for kids with special needs are two different things. And I was not taught as a special needs teacher, and I struggled because of that. Once I taught a child who had dyslexia, and he was a wonderful boy. He was from Spain, and I cried a lot when he was removed from my schedule because I wasn't allowed to work for Russian kids and for Spanish kids at the same time anymore, and they disappeared from my life just in one day basically, and I couldn't say goodbye. But I remember when I taught English with this boy, it was very difficult because he needed a person with a special training, possibly, and I lacked that special training. So I became the leader of the group, plus I had 2 post-school students, kids, and I wouldn't say kids, and they were my helpers. And that was a bit difficult. And I don't want to say that people who are still at school or who are finishing school, they are not capable at this job, because they lacked rather some kind of motivation, because we had some other schoolgirls and they were amazing, and I had a chance to work with them on the 3rd week, and oh my god, I think if a person is responsible from the very beginning. If a person is capable in the job, the person will be capable from the beginning. What was the issue? I burned out incredibly in these 2 days because of a certain reason. And I have a suspicion that it happened because I am a Russian who inherited certain unhealthy patterns from her post-Soviet grandma. My post-Soviet grandma, I love her very much. Sometimes she's a character in my articles or in my short videos. She's a real character. She was born in the USSR, and she's a USSR woman. And I think if I compare myself to all my relatives, I grew up into a younger version of my grandma. I don't know what to say about that, or if I should be happy or unhappy, but it leads to certain struggles. And the problem is that when I do my work, I tend to take too much to myself. Not necessarily that I was even asked to do all that extra work. But I assume, and many people who are also Russians or post-Soviet people who I talk to, they also have the same problem. They have a similar thing. I assume that I have to do that. I'm expected to do that, even if nobody told me that. And, of course, at some point, I start burning out because I am doing too much. I start looking around, I start thinking why I'm not getting help, because we are equal here, we get the same payment. I cannot voice the problem. When I cannot voice the problem, I start becoming passive-aggressive. And when I become passive-aggressive because I am overworked and I don't get help from the people who are supposed to be helping me, I started thinking like, now it's obvious that I need help, but it's not obvious because you're just being passive-aggressive. And as my psychologist told me, how would they know? that this is what you are implying, because probably you have a tummy pain, or maybe something happened in your life and this is why you are passive aggressive, or maybe you are just a shitty person, that's why you are passive aggressive. And this is something that I really inherited from my grandma. She always took all the work around the house and always kicked me out if I tried to do some kind of work in the house. And then when she was overwhelmed, she was starting to complain that nobody's helping her. Very, very typical Soviet-post-Soviet grandma. The problem is that I'm not my grandma, and I'm trying to learn about my boundaries and what exactly what I mean. So basically, I worked these 2 days. That was Thursday and Friday, in the middle of my work, and suddenly it happened that all my kids, they were on me. And they also saw that I am the most responsible, probably, and they all needed attention. But at the same time, we had one girl who was the most difficult case, because this girl, she didn't communicate, and I'm still not sure if she didn't communicate because she didn't speak German or because she just didn't communicate. I think she spoke her language, maybe it was some Arabic or I don't know what exactly, and she had a running away tendency. This is something that happens with people with serious cases of autism. They cannot sit on place and they suddenly need to run, and they can run away, they can disappear. Sometimes there are cases when these children just get on the bus and leave, and that's why some of them have these trackers, GPS trackers with them. But this girl didn't have a GPS tracker, but she was very, very intelligent in a way, because we had doors with buttons, and she knew exactly how every button worked. And if a child disappears in the school, and the school is very big, and also half of the school is not used during the holidays because it's easier to clean like this, it's easier to organize the rooms for kids and kids to have some space together. If she disappears or any other child disappears, can you imagine what kind of a scandal it is going to be and what is going to happen to all of us? I really don't want to imagine. So on one side I have this kid who is running away all the time. On the other side I have a kid with behavioral issues who sometimes just wants to be a rebel. She just feels like that. I want to be a rebel. I am not going to go for lunch when everybody goes. I'm not going home. Or no, now I'm going home with another girl who was picked up by her mother. And I have this kid, I have plus one kid who needs her nappy to be changed regularly. I also have boys who also need my attention. And me, and I'm alone, going crazy. You would say probably, yeah, there is nothing to complain about, because in the kindergarten sometimes there is one adult per group of children, but I would say it's not necessarily it's a good thing. It's just people are underpaid. This job is very underpaid in Russia, for example. That's why people just don't want to work there. It's not a good thing. And we have kids with special needs. I'm not sure about the standards, but we were 4 adults for 6 kids, I think. And certain kids, like the girl who is running away constantly, she is supposed to be with a specialist who is always with her, who is looking after her specifically. But this person was nowhere to be found. Here I am, I'm doing the work for myself and for that guy, as we say it in Russian. I really love Russian sayings, they are amazing. For myself and that guy, I'm trying to keep an eye on this girl. I'm trying to calm another girl down. The third girl needs her nappy to be changed, and I am going crazy because I have two more girls who are assisting, but they're not exactly assisting. They are just hanging out outside, or suddenly I am alone by myself and she disappeared, one of the girls, because one of these girls, I had two of them, one of the girls who was more dedicated, kinda, she got COVID on Friday, and we stayed 2 adults per 5 kids or 6 kids. Amazing, right? And they are somewhere else constantly, and the girl with whom I spent the most amount of time, she also had a boyfriend. At the school, they came together from the same school, and she had this stage of Tamara and I, we are always walking together. It's also another Russian expression from a poem, actually, I think. Tamara is a name, not even Russian, probably. And this wonderful post-school love when you are going to spend probably one summer together and never see each other again. I don't want to judge that, but okay, it's this wonderful post-school love, but he's in another group, but they're constantly together, they're constantly disappearing together, and we are allowed to take one break, 15 minutes, and also it needs to be discussed. If I'm the leader of the group, I need to be told that, okay, I'm going to take my 15-minute break right now, or whatever minute break. I just need my time. I need to go to the toilet. I need to scream in the toilet. I need to cry in the shower. Whatever, whatever it is, if you need that, I am understanding. But she took like 1,000 breaks, and at some point when she approached and she said, I'm going to take my break, and I'm already like shaking chihuahua, like comatose state, like at the edge, because when I am emotionally unstable, you can see it on my face. I cannot hide it well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, doesn't matter. And at that point, I cannot voice. My voice is stuck in my chest. I cannot voice the problem. She goes to her 1,000 break, and then my colleague from another group approaches and says, oh, tell me something. And I think he also asked about my YouTube channel or something, and I just burst into tears. Also on the same day, I got a scoop of sand on my head from a boy who thought that was a fun thing. It was a fun thing, and that was the moment when I was thinking that I was not managing, I was not capable for that job, because I need to hold everything together, but I have only one girl to help me, and she's not extremely helpful. And I don't know, probably she doesn't see that, or probably, when you have another person who is responsible and who is ready to take the job to oneself, some people might say, oh, okay, well, I wouldn't insist. And also at the same time, they might realize, oh, well, actually, maybe not only this person will take some other shares of work, maybe I will also push the most difficult work to her because she's willing to take it. That's why I was like the nappy changer, and my other coworkers, they were telling me, no, it shouldn't be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. We are here, we are doing the same job, we are earning money equally. And my colleague on the first week, the one who has worked at the school for 6 years, she sent the post-school girls, they went like together to change one nappy. They were hanging out in the room for like half an hour, and we were sitting there and we were like, are they still changing the nappy? Okay, whatever. But somehow, I don't know, I lack that authority, and I lack this power to voice the problem. And I've also tried to explain to you what is the problem, why I think, where it is coming from. I think probably it is coming from my post-Soviet past, because I am the product of the Soviet Union. Although when I was born, Soviet Union was long dead, and thanks God. I'm very happy about that. If you want to tell me that you are stupid and the you serve was the heaven on earth, just I don't know, you're not banned from Google. Just manage it by yourself, okay? I don't have patience for that. And I am the product of this country, this promised land, this country in which people were told by the government that we're living in socialism, but communism is just around the corner. It's almost there. We just need to brace up a bit more. And I think in Russia there is also the cult of suffering, because if you don't suffer, something is wrong with you, probably. And why do you deserve not to suffer if I suffer? Why do I deserve to suffer? Because the word deserve is often used in this context, and also the words fair and unfair. Life is generally unfair, and we cannot do anything about that, unfortunately. But for a Russian, there is always some kind of a figure who sees all our struggles. It can be the God, it can be Putin, and this fatherly figure, we can watch about that, the video about 1984, the novel. I invite you to watch this video, maybe, if you're interested in this topic. And yeah, this fatherly figure, it feels like life is supposed to be fair. I will be struggling for a long time, but I will be repaid. I will be rewarded after. And when a Russian person notices that something is not exactly fair in their picture of the world, because fairness is also a very vague concept, they start questioning, like, why does this person deserve that? Why does this person deserve that? This person doesn't deserve that. I deserve good things, but good things don't happen to me. And good things don't happen to me because I deprive myself of freedom of choice. And freedom of choice is considered as a religious cult, you know. Of course, the God is real. Putin is real. Freedom of choice, not real. So you endure, you suffer, and you endure and suffer unless you cannot endure anymore. You're sick of it. Or possibly when you are already dead and enduring is just stops because of the natural reasons. How cool is that? It's amazing. And in my opinion, this is what happened at the school. And I failed it as the leader, I guess. I couldn't distribute the tasks because I was obviously failing. And if I went inside with one girl to change the nappy, and if I told that other girl was letting me down, kinda, if I told her, look after this girl who is running away constantly, and she would tell me, yes, I will look after this girl, but then I will be inside with the girl changing the nappy, and people from other group, leaders of the other group, or carers or workers, they would tell me that your kid is running wild freely and nobody is looking after this kid. And it's double responsibility, and it's of course very difficult, very challenging. And I was questioning myself constantly why it is I cannot make other people work. And at the same time I was thinking, but I'm not supposed to, it's not my job. to bring these people to work because they knew what they agreed to. And if they don't want to do their share, it's not my fault. Well, I noticed, we realized, of course, nobody blamed me, and I got a lot of support from school. And the school staff, they were talking to me. They asked me to discuss this with my two post-school colleagues. Then they realized that I didn't manage, and they tried to help me a lot. But they also realized that that girl, she was just not really motivated. That's why several times she failed the things that she was told to do directly. For example, once she helped in the kitchen. Why she helped in the kitchen? Because the staff who is cooking normally, they are also on the vacation, and there are a lot of things to do, and we all helped in the kitchen a bit, and she was told to prepare the plates and the forks and whatever for the next day. And she was asked to fill the trays because we had tables, and each table had a tray with 10 plates, 10 forks, etc., etc. And she was asked to refill that, but she kind of went to refill them, but she didn't. And my colleague, she asked me, and she showed me these trays, and she asked me, like, how difficult could that be? Can you imagine that? Yeah, so I felt quite failed by my group, by two members of my group, and I really needed assistance. And this is not the job that one should do alone. I still love the atmosphere they managed to build around the school, and of course it's a difficult job, and what I would truly want to do would be writing, filming, and so doing something on the creative side. But unfortunately it's not that easy to earn money or to sustain oneself while doing these creative things. And also you might, but it might also take a lot of time, or it might never happen. And that's why one needs a job to do. But also one must remember that it's work, and you don't need to give everything to this work. It's not your family, it's not your home. You must have something to the side, and you must decide how much energy you are willing to give, to invest into this job, especially if there is something about which you're truly passionate about, you know. And yeah, if you have this post-Soviet trauma too, tell me how you're handling it. And I really noticed that a lot in Russians, I wouldn't talk about other nationalities from the post-Soviet Union, but if you are from the post-Soviet Union and you can relate to that, you can also share. And I will be continuing working with my psychologist on that. And I think the first step is to acknowledge the problem. And also it is helpful when your colleagues break you up a bit, not like when your colleagues slow you down a bit, because my other colleagues, also my Russian speaking colleague, she just stopped me every time when I was trying to do something like extra, and she was like, don't do something that you're not asked to do. And maybe it sounds horrible for you, but it is actually healthy. It's healthy if you don't want to burn out. And yeah, maybe you can call me a lazy zoomer, but I believe that there is nothing shameful in if you realize how much work you are capable of taking and handling, and you're willing and capable to manage and handle. There is nothing shameful about that. And yeah, if you have questions about work or about anything, or if you just want to engage with this video, I will be extremely grateful. And also give me a thumbs up if you want to, and subscribe to my channel and my Instagram even if you want to, or you can read my old articles. I still want to write more articles. I just want to finish the changes, the small changes in my novel, and then I want to write an article. And yeah, I think that's it. I will be wishing you love, 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 peace, peace from Anno, Northern Germany. Take care of yourself. Your mental health is important. To do the things that you like are also very, very important, even if you cannot earn money with them yet. And have an amazing day, and thank you for watching this extremely long video. Tschüss.